How's it going, guys? So today I'm going to do a quick overview and in-depth tour of my truck. It's a 2007 Ford Ranger XL. I would consider this more of a year-long review because I've had this truck for exactly a year now. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and get started with it. Standard 15-inch steel wheels that come with it. And again, this is just the XL model, so it's the lowest of the low. It's really, when I bought this, it was a old commercial vehicle. We suspect probably Orkin or some insect killer like that, because this is all they really use, and the bed got pretty beat up from its previous company owner. But this is my second Ranger, and I'm extremely happy with this truck. Now, keep in mind this is a 2007, but I'm creeping up on 135,000 miles on this thing now. So that's a lot of hard miles in a relatively short amount of time. Now, to give you an example, my dad's car, he has a 2008, so 1 year newer, but he's only got, and he drives it every day, it's a Mercedes C-Class, and he's only got 80,000 miles on it, so that just gives you perspective on how much this truck was driven previously before me. Now, I have personally put almost 30,000 miles on this truck. I do a lot of highway driving, but we'll pop the hood open for you here real quick and show you the engine. So we're underneath the engine bay of my truck here, and as you can see, it's the 2.3 liter inline 4-cylinder. And there's two other engines you can get with this truck. There's a 3-liter V6 and a 4-liter V6, but this particular engine makes 154 foot-pounds of torque at 3,750 RPM, and it makes 143 horsepower at 5,250 RPM. So it's not the most powerful engine in the world, but it gets you off the line. And this particular truck in this configuration, gearing, everything else, its max towing capacity is 2,000 pounds. Which, that's the trade-off with this engine, is you get excellent gas mileage for a truck. The highest I've seen is 31.8, and I'll include a link to that video that I did. It's the Lucas Fuel additive video, and I was averaging 60 miles an hour on that trip, 900-mile drive, and the best I saw was almost 32 miles a gallon out of a pickup truck, which I thought was astounding. But again, I just can't tow anything. So yeah, the other engines, it's you can tow and whatnot, but the fuel mileage drops to almost V8 levels. It's almost sickening to see the gas mileage especially the 4-liter V6 gets. It's almost V8 gas mileage. So we'll start her up real quick. Alright, you guys, so to continue with the outside of the truck, it's got my truck has a 15-gallon fuel tank running on just regular unleaded fuel. Premium is not required. But interestingly enough, it says Ford, I don't know if you can see that, but it says Ford recommends BP, which is interesting. But yeah, so it's 15-inch wheels all around, and these are still just the standard tires that were fitted. Still lots of life. That's a nice tire. It's a Suntech. Never heard of them, but pretty good traction on and off road. So, I recently installed this hitch. It's from Kurt. I will also include a link to that down below. But for future towing, and fairly easy tailgate to open. I've also installed these D-rings for cargo tie down. And my flag holders, I'll put a link to those down below too, for 4th of July and whatnot. My CB antennas, I'll also put a link to that down below. But yeah, it's just a standard regular cab. You can also get a super cab, which right about here there'd be another door that you could open up the other way. And it's 2 jump seats in the back. It's nice for kids, but adults it's really cramped back there. And, the mirrors are relatively nice too. The only problem is there's no power mirror adjustment for my truck. So if I wash it or someone bumps into my mirror, I actually have to move it, physically move the mirror around from the driver's seat until it's where I want it. So that's a downside for this truck. But the higher end, like the XLT and whatnot, and the FX4 and the Sport, they all have power window adjustments. But, yep. And again, for the XL, you get a plastic grill and a plastic bumper. The other ones, the higher end models, you actually get a painted bumper, and you usually get like a chrome grill and body color matched mirrors. But we'll hop on the interior now. Alright, so we're inside the truck right now, and as you'd expect with a commercial vehicle, there's virtually no storage. The only storage I really have is the compartment underneath the radio and the compartment underneath the AC controls and the glove box. That's the only real storage, and then a little bit behind the seats here. So, the camo, if you're interested, I'll put a link to that below as well. It's on both the doors and the center bezel there. But, yep, the interior of the Ranger has not changed very much since its birth, really. The only thing that changed is the new gauges, which I love the new gauges compared to my old 96, because the only thing I had was, I didn't have a tachometer. I only had the speedometer and the temperature and fuel gauge, so I didn't know what revs my engine was running at. And I'm also running a 5-speed manual. So, yep, that's a nice gearbox. Haven't had any problems with it yet. But, and there's also the CB radio. Put a link to that below as well. So, standard vinyl seats for this truck, for the XL. And that's the size of the glove box. So again, pretty small. But this radio came with the truck. It's a Kenwood KDC MP205. That's the main reason why I like it, is because I can run my other iPhone through there with my music. And it's got standard roll-up windows. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing I love about this truck, is you just can't break anything in it, because, I mean, there's a lot of electronic underneath the hood and whatnot, but in here, that's the only piece of real electronic gadgetry in here. The rest of it's all manual. So, and the nice thing too is I have vinyl floors. I don't have carpet. So, for instance, when I was hanging out with my friends in Idaho, it got pretty muddy out there, and so all I have to do is just get a spray bottle of water, spray the floor down, and wipe it up with a rag. I don't have to worry about carpet stains or anything else. So. But, yeah, we'll hop to the driver's side, or I'm sorry, the passenger side. Pretty much the same, but, and a tip, if anybody's looking for this truck, I always like to keep this seatbelt buckled whenever there's nobody riding in it, because if that's not the case and I'm driving on the highway, this thing just bounces up against this B pillar here it makes all kinds of noise running down the road. So if I click this over and just leave it in the buckle, it's nice and quiet in here. So, and it's standard seats as well. So, excuse the mess, but yeah, full-time student, kind of living out of the truck, if you will. But yep, you got 4 speakers, one behind each seat, and then one on each door. So, not the best sound system, but it gets the job done. And it comes with a jack and whatnot, but it's in my toolbox back there. So, my CB and for the coax is running right through there. But yeah. So I really never move the drive seat, the driver's seat very much. So yep, and it's all pretty nice. I mean, I beat the shit out of my old truck, my '96 Ranger, and if you saw my Idaho spring break video, you know that I visited an old place. And so when I was 17, I drove my old truck into a lava pit and almost rolled it, actually. But when I went down there, I bent the frame. Took 3 tow trucks to get me out, and the only thing I had to do was bend the panel back, the front quarter panel out on the driver's side, so I could open up my door again. And it's still running today. I was just there talking to the guy I sold it to, Manny, who I used to work with, and he's got just under 300,000 miles on that truck now. And all he's had to do is change the oil, and he's replacing a bearing soon on it. And I mean, these things are tough little trucks. That's why I love them. But yep. On the higher end models, this is where you would find the cruise control. This doesn't have cruise. I plan on installing it from roster though, because I really wish I had cruise control on that 900-mile drive to Idaho. But you got your AC, everything else, your heater. AC is really good on this truck. But once, like any other 4-cylinder, as soon as you do turn the AC on, it drops the power considerably. No mirrors, no vanity mirrors or anything. That's your only mirror in here. Not that I really care, but you got one coat hook up there. But yeah, that's pretty much the inside. It's a little bit cramped, but cup holders are okay. I think the best drink I've had in them was just a standard 12-ounce aluminum can that doesn't hold bottles very well because it doesn't have any of the spring-loaded clips. But yeah, we'll turn the radio on here for you in a second and let you listen to it. Alright, so we're inside the truck now, again, and it's an interesting, the ignition system is a bit funky at first if you've never driven a Ranger. So, I'm going to try and get a better shot of this. But anyway, there's a little tab here and it says push. And so, if you push it this way, keep going, you turn your computer on, turn everything on. Okay. And so, you want to take the key out, you can't. So you actually have to push this and then rotate. And you can take the key out. But, for our purposes, since I'm just going to show you the radio, turn it backwards and you just turn the radio on. So, it's not the best music, but I've got some royalty-free music on here right now. And this isn't like my dad's stereo system in his car. It's just nothing special. I plan on upgrading it soon, though. that's the sound system. Like I said, it has the upgraded head unit that somebody else put in, but it's still running the original stock speakers. So I plan on ripping. What I really want to do is rip out the entire interior and put in some. I don't want to put Dynamat because that shit's way too expensive. But FatMat off Amazon is like $100 for 100 square feet, so it's not bad. And it includes the roller. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it on the door panels, the headliner, the floor, next to behind the bed, or on the other side of the bed here, behind the seats, and then upgrade the stereo. The speakers, and maybe I'm not, because I normally don't listen to this stuff, but as you heard, there's a pretty bad rattle on that door too, so I got to fix that. But I normally don't listen to that kind of music. It's just something that would really get some good response out of it. So normally I'm just listening to country music. So, but yep. So that's the damn, it got hot in here. So yeah, that's pretty much the extent of the truck. There's not a whole lot to it. So, which is just the way I like it. Oh, and also, this is my little other noise reduction NASA-inspired design. So it's just electrical tape, because if I don't have that on there, the door latch rattles like crazy on that little, I can't think of the name of it. I just had it, but yeah, you can just hear the thud now since the tape's on there. So, but yeah, just the smallest bump upsets that, and it's just the door rattle is actually louder than the seat belt rattling up against this plastic panel here. So it's pretty bad if I don't have that tape on there. So, but the other thing I love about this truck is maintenance is incredibly simple. You can see that stem there. I just replaced the shocks and struts on this. I'll put a link to that down below as well. Oil changes are incredibly easy on this truck, and I'll put a link to that down below as well. So I think I might just make a playlist for my truck. But yeah, that's pretty much the extent of it, guys. So all in all, I have nothing bad to say about this truck. It's never broken down on me. It's never performed bad. It's not the most comfortable riding pickup, but again, it's a truck. It's an economy truck. But it gets me from point A to point B to school, which I live in Chatsworth in the San Fernando Valley, and I go to school in Moorpark, California, so I drive 90 miles a week in this thing. That's just for school, not to the store or anything. But, yep, so this is if you're looking at getting one of these, I mean, some of them's got some problems, you know. I mean, for instance, the 2.3 liter in here is notorious for running a rough idle, which this runs a little bit rough, but it's not to the point of stalling or anything like that. It's just not as refined, you know. Jumping out of my dad's Mercedes and then into this, yeah, this seems like a complete clunker, but yep, for what it is, it's a fantastic truck, and I'm hoping to get, 300,000 plus miles out of this. But once I finish school and I move back to Idaho, I can see myself getting an F-150, but I will not trade this truck in. I absolutely adore this truck, and I've grown fond of it. I've slept in this thing many times out in the desert and on the side of the road on the way to Idaho and on the way back home. It's a fantastic little truck, and it's again, I can't tow anything. It doesn't have any guts, but it's what I love. So, but yeah, I would highly recommend getting one of these for a first vehicle. It's great for anybody who loves trucks, but they don't want to spend, either $40,000 on a new F-150 EcoBoost, which that's the truck I want, the 2015, but with the 2.7, But, you know, for a college student like me who's, I shouldn't say strapped for cash because I get free education. Thank you. Thanks to my father who fought for this country for 20 years. I get to use his VA benefits. So, but yeah, for a college student like that, or for like me, it's a fantastic vehicle. So, yeah, so that'll about do it, guys. Sorry for the rambling, but I just really love that truck. But, yeah, questions, comments, leave them down below. If you're feeling generous, hit that like button. And, again, everything I've done to that truck, I will put links to them down below if you guys want to check those out. And as always, thanks for watching, and until next time, guys, take care.